Hello, good day class. So last time we discussed what a project is. So we cited different kinds of projects and their classifications and the four different types of project life cycle and their attributes. We also enumerated the primary goals of a project and the importance and limitations of project management. So today, for our second lesson, we're going to discuss the first stage of project life cycle, which is the initiation stage. So in this lesson, I'm going to deliberate the lesson's objectives, introduction, project management maturity, project selection, sample computations for our numeric selection, project portfolio management, business project proposal, and of course, after this lesson, you have to get ready for the recitation, quiz, or an activity that I have prepared. So first, we're going to discuss what are the learning outcomes or the objective of this lesson. So first, here we are going to analyze the project management maturity of different organizations, adopt the project selection process in the choice of project portfolio, develop an optimal combination of numeric and non-numeric models for project selection using suggested criteria, synthesize the process involved in project portfolio management, and develop a business project proposal using the technical approach. So here, for the introduction of our lesson, so we're going to discuss what is strategy. So in every project naman, we know na kailangan natin ng strategy. Even sa isang business proposal. Kapag nag-propose tayo ng isang project or ng isang business, yung strategy po yung isa sa pinakang importante. So bakit? Kasi this strategy will lead us to achieve our goals and our plans for our project. So here, meron tayong mga questions na dapat masagot. So how the firm will compete? So syempre, in the market or kapag tinayo natin yung business na gagawin natin in the future or etong project na ginagawa natin, syempre may mga competitors po tayo sa market. So first, kahit ang atin pong mga business is about pabahay. So, may kakompetensya din tayo dyan na mga villa. Meron tayong mga kakompetensya dyan na mga pabahay din. Kung kayo si Camellia, so, syempre, may kalaban ka. So, si Lancaster. So, may mga ganyang klase na mga pabahay. So, iba-iba yung mga pangalan yan, depende sa developer. And also, kahit sa mga condominium, maraming mga kalaban yan. So, andyan si SMDC. So, that is under SM. There is Ayala Malls, Mega World, meron din diyang mga Avida Towers. So, madami pong mga developer, madami pong mga business ang merong condominium. And even po sa mga sasakyan, di ba? Pag ano tayo nag-franchise tayo ng mga sasakyan, ng business about cars. So, marami yang kakumpetensya sa market. So also, kahit sa business, ganun din. Pag gumawa tayo ng business proposal, pag naisipan natin ng itayo natin yung business is about milk tea, so hindi lang naman ikaw nag-iisa dyan. So madami ka rin kakumpetensya. So, meron kang kapitbahay dyan na, kunwari, si Big Brew, for example, na malapit dito sa school. So, katabi niya dyan or malapit lang dyan si Coffee, andyan din si Coffee Essentials, and marami pang iba. So, hindi lang siguro yan tatlo. Merong mga apat around our school. So, syempre, when you do a project, so dapat alam mo kung ano yung i-offer mong product. So, that's why nakalagay dito, for you to compete in the market, dapat you know what product to offer. So, ano ba yung trend? Sa tingin mo ba kikita ka kapag yan ay nandyan na sa market, kapag yan ay na-establish na? Sa tingin mo, marami ka bang customer? So, which services to sell? So, the services naman, kung wala kang mga um, products, so, itong mga services na ito is like you offer plumbing, yung paglilinis ng mga tubo-tubo, you offer services like sa funeraria. So, sa funerals, yung mga funeraria na yan is, they offer both services and product kasi syempre may coffin sila. So, ayun. So, sa services, ano pa? Ang mga vulcanizing shop. So, sa mga vulcanizing, sometimes meron na rin dyan nabibiling mga pyesa. So, they also offer products as additional income. So, yun yung mga dapat nating malaman. So, yun dapat yung dapat iniisip bago po natin gawin yung isang proyekto. Lalo na kung yung project natin is about gaining or para tayo kumita. So, syempre, kaya tayo gumawa ng isang project or ng isang business is para tayo kumita, hindi naman para tayo imalugi. So, we have to do some surveys, tingnan natin kung sino ba yung mga magiging kakompetensya natin. So, ano yung presyo dapat natin once in-establish na natin yung business or yung project na gagawin natin in the future. And also, in what geographic regions will the company market its product and services? So, syempre, kapag magtatayo ka ng isang business, alam mo kung saan siya itatayo. So, kailangan malaman sino ba yung mga kakompetensya mo in that area. So, gaano sila kalayo dun sa pagtatayuan mo or dun sa pwesto mo. And also, kailangan may ocular visitation. So, ano ba yung tinatawag natin mga ocular visitation? So, syempre, ikaw mismo, pupunta ka dun sa lugar. Para naman, makita mo at hindi mo lang dahil lang sa sabi-sabi na, dyan sa lugar na yan ay eto ang kakompetensya mo. Which is, ikaw mismo, hindi mo pa pala nakita yung lugar. So, hindi ka sure kung andun pa ba yung sinasabi nila na tindahan na may possibility na maging kakompetensya mo. So, you have to know kung saan siya ilolocate. So, syempre, kung ikaw ay business-minded or ikaw ay businessman, ikaw yung may-ari, ayaw mo naman na sasabi-sabi ka lang maniniwala. So, syempre, puntahan mo personally. And lastly, who is the customer that is served? So, dito, bago tayo gumawa ng isang project, dapat alam natin kung sino yung beneficiaries natin or kung sino itong target market, sino ba ang bibili, sino yung tatangkilik dun sa ating product or dun sa services na gagawin natin in the future. So, sabi dito, why strategy is important to PM? So, maybe some of you will ask, what is PM? So, si PM po is the project management. So, pinaiksi lang natin. So, syempre, ang strategy po ay napaka-importante sa isang project management kasi ito yung magli-lead sa atin sa success in the future if ever we have or naging maganda yung takbo ng ating proyekto. So, ano ba yung mga dapat nating tandaan when we are going to make a strategy? So, syempre, sabi nga natin kanina, we have to do some ocular visitation. That's why you have this environmental scanning. Dapat alam natin kung saan siya itatayo, anong itsura ng lugar na pagtatayuan ng ating project. And also, ito ay napaka-importante kasi dapat yung lugar, we can respond to changes kasi alam naman natin na nagbabago-bago. So, minsan may itatayo dyan na bagong condominium, may itatayo dyan na bagong business. So, para handa tayo. So, we have to know kung anong klaseng risk yung ma-encounter natin in the future. So, syempre, that is part of the challenge ng isang business. Kasi, syempre, may iba dyan na nakaisip na, ay, ito pala yung trend. So, why not try then? So, just like you, gusto rin nilang kumita. And also, you have to allocate scarce resources. Dapat alam ninyo kung saan nyo pwedeng mabili yung sa tingin ninyo is hindi ganon ka-common na materials na gagamitin ninyo dun sa iyong proyekto. So, kunwari here in our province, napansin ninyo na medyo kaunti ang nagbibenta kunwari ng tiles. So, si tiles dito is almost pare-pareho. So, the design is not hindi ganun ka-trendy, so hindi siya yung uso. So, dapat alam niyo kung sino yung pwede ninyo maging supplier mula sa kabila. And also, when you see a supplier po sa kabila, dapat tinitake consideration natin yung sa logistic. So, gaano po ba katagal bago siya dumating sa ating province? So, ano yung mga pwedeng alternative na pwede natin gawin if ever maubos po yung ganong klase ng design. Kasi minsan po yung atin pong mga tindahan dito ng mga hardware na nagbebenta ng tiles, syempre, yan ay gumagawa rin yan ng ocular na parang it's a, like ocular visitation, pero syempre, nagtitingin yan sa mga bagong design ng mga bahay kung ano ba yung trend na ginagamit na klase ng tiles, na design ng tiles. So, syempre, yun yung mga next na bibilhin nila, which is magiging useful naman sa isang project na tinatayo dito sa province, lalong-lalo na kung yung design ng tiles na yon ay naging available po do sa ating local market na hindi na natin kailangan po na mag-order sa kabila, which will lessen yung time for the logistics or the lead time para ma-receive natin yung item. And also, minsan kahit medyo mahal, so tinitake consideration din natin kung magkano yung binabayaran natin sa logistic o yung sinasabi natin mga shipping fees. So, pag bumibili tayo, lalo na kay Shopee. And of course, dapat etong ating strategy na ito must align dun sa mission ng ating ginagawang project. So, ano ba ang mission? So, syempre, our mission is to finish this on time, and also our mission is to give quality standard do sa project na ating ginagawa. So, here, so makita nyo, so strategy or strategic management. So, ayan. So, sabi dito, the process of setting goals, procedures, and objectives in order to a company or organization more competitive. Kasi nga, kailangan natin ng strategy para mas maging competitive tayo compared dun sa ibang business or sa ibang project na ginagawa. So, syempre, mag-aagawan kayo ng customer. So, using some strategies, so ano ba yung mga possible strategies na meron tayo? So, pwede tayong magbigay ng leaflets para alam nila na ay may bago. So, let's try. So, syempre, pag tinry ng tao at nasarapan sila dun sa gawa mo or dun sa product na, or nagustuhan nila yung product na ino-offer mo, so, may possibility na yung kliyente ng kabila ay lumipat sa iyo. So, syempre, dapat may quality yung ating product. And also, ang strategic management daw is the process of assessing what we are. So, ano ba tayo? Tungkol saan ba yung ating business or yung ating project, and deciding and implementing what we intend to be and how we are going to get there. So, using this strategic management is may possibility po na mas mabilis natin na ma-achieve yung mga gusto nating mangyari dun sa business or dun sa project na ating ginagawa. So next, we have to align the mission with the project. So sabi nga natin kanina, dapat siya ay parallel. Kumbaga, yung mission natin, so nakikita nyo dyan, is the purpose of the organization. So ano ba yung purpose niya? Ano yung gusto niyang gawin when yung project na yun can be used na in the future? So syempre, the purpose, kunwari your project is condominium, so, syempre, ang purpose niya is mabigyan ng affordable na matitirhan if the project or the condominium is for the mass market. So, syempre, kung mura lang naman, so gusto niya lang naman na mabigyan yung mga tao na gusto magkaroon ng sariling bahay, ng sariling space. So, that's the purpose of their project. And for the goals, so syempre, we have here the targets with the mission. So, yung goal natin is makakuha tayo ng maraming customer para syempre, as a businessman, gusto natin na bumalik yung ating in-invest na pera. Hindi naman tayo labas ng pera. So, dapat may babalik din. And syempre, the objective. So, here, we formulate the strategy. So, syempre, may objective tayo, meron tayong gustong marating, meron tayong mission na dapat marating, may goals tayo na para sa ating business. So, ayun. So, that ends to the project. So, next, here, strategic management daw has 4 activities. So, ano yung 4 activities naman ni strategic management? So, here, you have to review and define the organizational mission. So, what we want to become. So, ano ba yung gusto mo after 5 years, 10 years? So, syempre, bago mo simulan yung project is dapat alam mo na kung papunta ka saan. And set long-range goals and objectives. So, where the company is headed and when is it going to be there. So, syempre, merong ibang companies, lalo na yung mga may mapera, yung susuwertehin sa business in the future pagkasimula nila after 10 years or 5 years, nakakuha sila ng mga foreign investors. So, ano yung goal mo. So, ikaw, sinimulan mo pa lang yan. So, gusto ko in the near future, 5 years or 10 years from now, dapat is international na kami. So, syempre, may mga long-range objective tayo. So, yan yung mga gusto nating marating in the near future. So, next, analyze and formulate strategies to reach objectives. So, what needs to be done to reach the objective? So, syempre, when you do this, so, andyan na nga yung strategies. So, ano yung mga dapat mong gawin? So, you have to give leaflets. So, kung meron kang magawa ng ads, so we have local TV, so local radio stations para maipakilala yung ating project at malaman ng tao na aba may project pala sa may Torrijos. So, in the future is baka maganda doon. So, syempre, naku-curious yung tao. So, that's your first strategy. Then, pag natapos po si business, pwede ka nang magbigay ng mga leaflets, ng mga brochures para alam nila kung anong amenities meron doon, kung anong klase ba, anong makikita namin dyan. So, ayun. So, minsan, yung iba, so, medyo high-tech na tayo ngayon, so, they can make some videos. So, nakakagawa na sila ng mga 3D. So, parang pinapakita na nila doon kung ano yung mga pwede mong magawa in the near future. And next, you can implement strategy through projects. So, how the strategies will be realized. So, papaano. So, ayun nga, kapag may mga, since advanced technologies na tayo, so, ayan, gumagamit na sila ngayon ng mga applications para mas advanced, mas medyo realistic na yung nakikita ng iba. Kahit wala pa yan, kahit yan ay tinatayo pa lamang, ay nakikita na nila kung ano yung future ng business na yan. So, it depends pa rin sa tao kung kaya nilang or kaya ng kanilang bulsa na magbayad doon sa attractions na meron doon. So, next, we have here yung SMART goals. Kasi syempre, in every project, there are challenges. So, dapat may mga SMART goal settings tayo. So, ito namang SMART goal setting is hindi lang naman siguro dito sa subject na ito na encounter. So, minsan ito ay dinidiscuss din sa ibang subject like sa mga computer subjects. Kasi nga, iba-iba ang klase ng project. So, sa SMART goal, ano ba ibig sabihin ng S? So, you have to be specific. So, hindi pwedeng kalat yung ideas mo. So, you know what exactly are you going to achieve. So, ano yung gusto mo? So, syempre, isang direction ka lang. So, wag ka nang maraming pa-branch agad. Kasi, wala ka pa nga eh. You're starting your project. You're starting your business. So, dapat dun ka muna sa gusto mo munang ma-achieve mismo. Then, kapag nandun ka na, saka mo palawakin yung iyong networks. So next, you must be measurable. So what do you mean by measurable? So how will you know you've achieved your goal? So syempre, meron kang mini-measure dyan na malaki na yung profit mo, meron ka ng branches, or marami kang, tawag dito, yung loyal customers. So, ayan. So, dun mo makikita yan. So, magandang evaluation, maganda ang feedbacks. So, that pwedeng yun yung gawin nating measurement na na-achieve mo na yung goal mo or at least meron ng percentage dun sa gusto mong mangyari. And A for achievable. So, always make sure na yung inyo pong ginagawa ay kaya nating ma-achieve. Huwag naman yung masyado agad na mataas. Na alam naman natin na kapag mataas masyado yung ating gustong mangyari is hindi naman possible na makuha natin in 5 to 10 years lang. So, it will take time. So, wala namang instant millionaire. Wala rin instant na andyan agad, marami agad customers. So, walang ganon. So, syempre, dapat achievable. So, is your goal a doable? So, kaya mo bang gawin? Hindi ba yan puro nasa isip lang? Kaya mo bang kumilos? Or can it be achieved in time given? So, syempre, kaya nga tayo nag-measure kung kaya natin ma-achieve yung goals na yan is dapat alam natin na kaya natin. So, hindi man natin nakuha 100%, so at least 80 to 90% ng ating goal ay ma-achieve natin in a certain time. And R, so it has to be relevant. So, is your goal important to you right now? Siyempre, importante. That's kaya nga natin yun naiisip. Kasi importante siya. Alam natin na in the future is makakatulong din siya sa buhay natin. So, will it help you in the future? So, of course, di ba? Hindi tayo magsisimula ng isang project or ng isang business na ang iisipin natin is may possibility siya na malugi. So, hindi dapat tayo ganun. So, syempre, we make our business, so we have to do the best out of it. So, kasi may goals tayo, di ba? Goal natin na sumikat, goal natin na dumami customer natin para tayo ay yumaman. So, gano'n naman madalas, di ba? So, nag-business tayo, hindi para tayo ay lalong maghirap. So, nag-business tayo para tayo ay yumaman or tayo ay kumita. So, T, time bound. So, how long will you give yourself to achieve your goal? So, yan yung sinasabi natin kanina na dapat alam natin kung kailan natin gustong mabawi, even the profit, kailan tayo kailangang kumita na. So, dapat naiisip na natin yan. Kasi, ang isa pong business is nag-i-stop or nag-failed siya or tinitigil na ng mismo may-ari yung isang business kapag nakita niya na hindi siya kumikita. So, syempre, ba't ko pa itutuloy? Ngayon pa lang, lugi na ako. Diba? So, ang gagawin niya, papaubusin niya na lang yung stocks niya. Then again, he will start again from scratch, syempre, and mag-iisip na naman siya ng another business. Na sa tingin niya is, what if dun sa unang business na ginawa ko is hindi pala yun yung para sa akin. So, why not try another one? Which is hindi naman masama. Diba? May mga trial and errors din tayo na gagawin sa life natin. So, ayan. So, yan po ay applicable din sa ating projects, sa ating future businesses, and even sa ating sarili. So, next, challenges. So, ano ba itong mga challenges na to? So, syempre, hindi naman smooth lahat. So, may mga challenges in every milestone ng ating project. So, making sure that projects are closely tied to goals and strategies. So, syempre, habang ine-execute natin yan, habang pinag-iisipan pa lang nga natin, is dapat alam na agad natin kung anong klaseng strategy yung gagawin natin sa future and how to handle the growing number of projects. So, syempre, if you are an engineer, if you are an architect, or you are a good AutoCAD operator in the future, so, syempre, alam mo na yan kung anong klase or may possibility talaga na dumami yung customers mo kasi alam nila na you are giving the quality project or the quality product. So, meron kang magandang outcome na naibibigay dun sa kliyente mo. So, syempre, dadami yung mga gustong magpagawa sa iyo. So, if you are a food technologist, so, nakita nila na you know how to handle a person's diet. So, syempre, mas maniniwala na sila sa inyo compared dito sa mga nutritionist kasi sa iyo, mas siguro you are giving them lower yung hinihingi mong fees sa kanila for you to cook and give them advices about the nutrient facts na pwede nilang makuha doon sa kinakain nila. So, this depends on what course or program you are in. So, syempre, kung tayo naman ay we are giving the best of us tapos nagustuhan tayo ng ating mga kliyente, hindi naman talaga possible or hindi naman talaga imposible na dumami yung mga gusto na sa atin lumapit. So, they are our customers. So, how to make this project successful? So, syempre, this became challenges kasi lalo na kapag during the execution po ng isang project is nagkakaroon dyan ng accidents. So, during the initiation stage, nakita na natin na this is possible or na pwedeng itong mga risk na ito ay talagang ma-encounter natin in this kind of project. So, doon pa lang, naisipan na natin kung ano yung mga possible solutions din. So, next, we have here the project management maturity. So, ano daw ba itong project management maturity? So, this is the progressive advancement or project and multi-project management proficiency in approach, methodology, strategy, and decision-making process. So, there are three kinds of maturity based in our generic model of project management maturity. So, we have here the low maturity, the moderate maturity, and the high maturity. So, ano ba itong mga low maturity na to? So, ad hoc process, so there is no common language and little support. And next, we have the moderate maturity, which define the practices, training, programs, organizational support. And syempre, if there is a high maturity, institutionalized, seek continuous improvement. So, here po sa ating illustration, or dito sa generic model na pinapakita sa ating screen ngayon, pinapakita lang po dito, or this reflect that project maturity reflects the continuous process of improvement via identifiable incremental steps. So, syempre, meron tayo mga sinusunod na steps dyan bago tayo mapunta sa isang high maturity na level. So, syempre, ang isa pong organization starts with unplanned project management practices na walang common language and methods to undertake a project. So, syempre, they started from scratch. So, as a firm becomes more mature, so nakaka-establish na sila ng mga common practices for adoption. So, in the future projects, pwede na nila yung madala. So, it begins to train pool of project management professionals, set up procedures and process for launching and controlling its projects among others. And lastly, syempre, sabi nga natin na high maturity, which is the last stage of an organization. So this does not only make project management a significant part of the operation, but also explores ways to make continuous improvements of its techniques and procedures. So minsan po, sa ganitong klase po ng management, so syempre, habang tumatagal is we need to give our team a seminar, trainings, syempre, to add knowledge na din sa kanila, which sabi ko nga is makakatulong naman dun sa business na atin pong ginagawa. So next, so makikita po ninyo dito yung Kerzner's Project Management Maturity Model. So yung tinatawag natin na KPM3. So this is a measure of an organization's readiness and capability to meet its objectives expressed through its people, process data, and technologies. So, ayan. So, makikita ninyo merong 5 level. So, sa first level, sabi nga natin, they started from scratch. So, andito yung mga basic knowledge. So, from schools to some experiences. So, dito yan. So, habang tumatagal, so they nagkakaroon ng common processes kasi nga araw-araw na nilang ginagawa yan. So, nagkakaroon na ng definition yung mga trabaho na ginagawa nila sa isang firm. Then, susunod na dyan yung level 3. So, meron na silang sariling process, nakasanayan na. So, nagkakaroon na sila ng singular methodology. Whereas, nakokontrol na po nila yung process. And after that, they have the benchmarking. So, sa benchmarking naman, so, syempre, titingnan nila kung ano ba yung ginagawa ng ibang organization, anong mga techniques kaya yung ginagawa ng kabila. So, minsan nakakapagtanong tayo, lalo na kung may mga kaibigan tayo doon. So, which is, kaya sa tunay na buhay, kaya nga tayo pumipirma ng kontrata, merong part doon na sasabihin na you are not allowed to, kumbaga, to share private knowledges na nakukuha mo sa business na to because there is we have, as the management, meron kaming kakayahan na ikaw ay kasuhan for leaking our knowledge. Pero syempre, hindi yun maiiwasan. So, may iba dyan na, kunwari, they are just common people who are going to ask, kasi sabi nila na we are doing surveys or we are nagtatanong lang, parang ganon. So, that's the way. Meron iba't ibang ways ng pag-benchmark. So, syempre, you want to know kung ano yung ginagawa nila para maging successful. So, once nalaman na natin kung paano sila naging successful, ganito pala, kaya pala ganon, di ba? So, yan ay normal. Though, syempre, bawal mo pa rin ilabas yung pinakang strategy, yung pinakang procedures na meron doon sa company na yon. So, dyan na nagkakaroon tayo ng improvement. So, in level 5, so, andyan na. Nalalaman na doon na dadagdagan ang ating knowledge. So, nagkakaroon tayo ng continuous improvement. So, depende po sa kung ano yung mga trainings and seminars and kung anong klaseng benchmarking yung ginagawa natin. So next, we have the project selection. So sabi nga natin kanina doon sa simula, so sabi natin doon may mga computation. So dito po yun mag-i-start sa ating project selection. Pero syempre, I already uh, disregarded other kinds of numeric selection kasi nga hindi binase or uh, inalign ko lang do sa business or do sa course na meron kayo. Kasi ito kasing ganitong klase ng project selection is more on management. So, sila naman yung nagkukumpute talaga ng pera. Pero syempre, yung basic knowledge, dapat alam nyo rin kung ano ba yung nangyayari or paano ba nila nakuha na or paano nila nasabi na ito yung mas better than the other one, paano sila nakakakuha ng ROI, na return of investment. So, syempre, pwede natin yung i-apply sa sarili natin kapag naisipan natin na gumawa ng ating sariling business. So first, dito sa topic na to, syempre, I'm going to introduce to you kung ano ba itong project selection. So, ang project selection daw is the process of appraising a project or groups of projects and afterward decided to execute some of them in order to realize the objectives of the organization. So, managers often use decision aiding models to extract the relevant issues of problem from the details in which a problem is embedded, and models represent the problem structure and can be useful in selecting and evaluating projects. So models do not give any decision. It partially represents the reality. So sabi nga natin, syempre, ito ay magagamit ninyo kahit paano. So at least malalaman ninyo, yung pala yun. So they computed it sa pamamagitan nun. So, they made the decision kasi yun yung sinunod nilang klase ng selection. So, here, meron daw 4-step ng project process. So, first, you have to identify potential projects. So, you have to identify the projects that support the strategy. And number 2, compare the project. So, evaluate and prioritize the project. Number 3, analyze your findings, wherein you are going to select and initiate the project. And lastly, you have to select a project. So, syempre, na-analyze mo na, na-evaluate mo na. So, nandun na lahat ng knowledge about that project. So, sa tingin mo, alin po doon ang the best na dapat nating simulan para magkaroon na agad tayo ng kita. So, you have to review the projects regularly once you have selected it. Kasi syempre, dapat yung progress, yung milestone na nangyayari do sa project na yun ay nasusunod. So next, there are different criteria for project selection models. So sabi dito, this was developed by Schroeder. So it is under the Meredith and Mantel of 2012. So realism. So reality of manager's decision. So a realism po, so the model should be the mirror of the reality of the manager's decision. So the situation together with the various objectives of both the firm and its manager. So syempre dapat pareho sila ng objective. So sabi nga natin, di ba, isa sa mga disadvantages minsan is yung pagiging obsessed ng mga project manager. So minsan yung realidad is or yung gusto mangyari ng firm ay hindi nasusunod. So it should be take into consideration the realities of the firm's limitations, lalong-lalo na syempre may mga budget tayong sinusunod, at saka yung mga schedules. So may mga limitations yan when it comes to the facilities, sa capital, so yun nga, yung budget, human resources, even the technology, and marami pang factors. So this includes yung mga pag-reveal ng mga project risk, including the technical risk of performance, even the cost, and time, as well as the market risk of customer rejection and other implementation risk. So, yun nga, we have to be real. Kailangan alam natin yung realidad na hindi lahat ay tatanggapin or tatangkilikin yung project na ating ginagawa. And number two, we have the capability. So sabi dito, this will able to simulate different scenarios and optimize the decision. So this, the model should be complicated enough to deal with numerous time periods. So kaya niyang i-stimulate yung situation with both inside and external of the project. So syempre sa isang company, so hindi maiiwasan na magkaroon dyan ng strike. So interest rate changes. So parang 'di ba, minsan may mga company na umuutang sa bangko. So ayun. So na kumbaga kasama sa naaapektuhan yung budget ng company and system behavior changes. So mayroong mga system dyan like from CCTVs, even syempre gumagamit sila ng mga internet. So kailangan nila ng mga IT. So meron diyang mga, 'di ba, um, tayo nga as commoners or mga common na tao lamang, nagkakaroon tayo ng mga problem when it comes sa mga um, abnormal behavior ng ating computers, ng ating internet, or ng mga data. So, lalo, ano pa yung mga malalaking company na yan? And also to optimize the decision. So, an optimizing model will formulate daw yung mga assessment that management believe to be significant and reflect on key risk and constraints on the project and afterward choose the best project or set projects in general. So, yun yung capability. So, di ba, napakahaba ang um, pero ang gusto lang naman niyang sabihin diyan is kailangan meron tayong capacity na masolusyonan yung mga problem na pwedeng mangyari sa loob ng isang project. So, syempre, after capability, dapat flexible din tayo. That's why andyan yung flexibility. So, this provide valid results within the range conditions. So, the model should offer convincing outcomes among the conditions that the firm may experience. So, it should have the ability to be effortless modified or to be self-adjusting in answer to changes in the firm's environment like tax laws, change. So, syempre, nagkakaroon tayo ng mga changes when it comes sa mga tax. Minsan tumataas, minsan bumababa, minsan tumataas ang percent rate. So, depende sa kung ano yung nabago sa Constitution. So, new technological advancements, alter risk levels. So, ayun nga, dapat continuous din yung pag-aaral. Kasi nga, pag nag-advance yung technology, so ang technology kasi mabilis ang advancement, lalong-lalo na ngayon. Ang dami na nakakaisip. Sa dati naman, wala namang AI. Pero ngayon, may AI na. So, type mo lang kay AI yung tanong mo. So, sasagutin ka niya. So, dapat flexible tayo sa lahat. And also, change in organization's goal. So, dahil nga mabilis ang advancement ng technology, so nag-iiba din yung goal ng isang project. So, dapat kaya nating sumabay dun sa mga pagbabago na yon. So, next we have the ease of use. So, dito naman, sa ease of use, so, syempre, reasonably convenient. So, easy execution and easily understood. So, kung ako is, hindi ako ganon, ka-knowledgeable doon sa sinasabi mo, so, gusto ko is yung madaling maintindihan. That's why we are not using pure English kapag tayo ay nagtuturo. Kasi nga, may ibang bata dyan, or may mga ibang students na hindi naman lahat, or hindi naman ganun kagaling sa English. So, kahit kami, as teacher, hindi rin kami ganun kagaling sa English. So, syempre, gusto namin ma-deliver yung aming lessons, yung um, gusto namin sabihin sa inyo in Tagalog para mas mabilis yung maintindihan. So, ganun din, when it comes to the project, gumawa kami ng isang condominium, dapat siya madali lang ma-access. Kumbaga, kapag ito ibinigay namin, lalo na po sa mass market, so hindi sila ganun ka open or hindi sila na-introduce ng ganun sa technology. So, ayun. So, dapat kaya nilang i-operate yung isang bagay. So, next, syempre, yung cost. So, sa cost naman, data gathering and modeling cost should be low relative to the cost of the project. So, ayun, dapat talaga is mas mababa siya kasi naman, kadalasan po ang isang project naman ay continuous ang kita. So, the data gathering and modeling cost should be low in relation to the cost of the project and must certainly be less than the probable benefit of the project. So, dito naman is ayun nga, dapat yung pag gumawa sila ng research and development, so hindi naman dapat sila gumastos ng milyon-milyon din. So, syempre, tama na dyan, kukuha kasi sila ng mga datas. So, they are going to do some surveys. So, syempre, meron kang ipapasaho doon sa tao na gumawa ng survey, gagastos ka sa printing. So, hindi dapat ganun kamahal. So, if you can lower yung cost, kumuha ka dyan ng mga gusto mag part-time job lang para hindi ganun kamahal yung ibabayad mo. So, why not? Diba? So, dapat hindi mas mahal yung gagamitin mo sa research and development sa total amount ng mismong project mo. And lastly, we have the easy computerization. So here, this must be easy and convenient to gather, store, and manipulate data in the model. So, ibig sabihin lang po, so, dapat ay suitable siya sa pag-collect and accumulate ng information sa isang computer database. So, kung yan po ay about surveying, so dapat may isang folder lang dyan, so sama-sama sila dyan. So, mas madaling makita yung mga gusto nating hanapin. Kaya nga, sa ating mga documents, so gumagawa tayo ng mga separate folders para if ever tayo yung maghanap, alam na natin kung saan tayo pupunta. So, kunwari, ang ating hinahanap ay thesis natin. So, syempre, may isang folder ka doon sa computer mo na about thesis lang. So, meron ka dyan na folder lang para sa mga patent papers. Meron kang folder dyan na para sa mga personal use mo. Even sa ating cellphone, may folder tayo dyan para sa games. May folder tayo dyan para sa ating mga pictures lang. So, same din. When we store data from our project, dapat convenient or mas madali siyang makita once na hinanap po natin siya. So we have here two types of project selection models, which are the non-numeric models and the numeric models. So non-numeric models do not utilize numbers as inputs and they are considered the older and simpler way of project selection. So we have the numeric model who make use of numbers to measure both objective and subjective area. So dito naman po is gumagamit tayo ng mga computation. Non-numeric models, so models that are constructed in the basics of subjective evaluation of the ideas and opinions of the project manager and the project team. So meron po tayong 5 klase ng non-numeric model. So number 1, we have the sacred cow. So yung sa sacred cow po is a project is recommended by the top management. So syempre kung sino yung nasa pinakamataas, this could be senior or the influential officials. So sila yung nag-evaluate ng ating mga projects. Then next, number 2, we have the operating system necessity, wherein the project is obligatory in order to keep the system operating. So this does not necessitate great extent of formal evaluation. And number 3, we have the competitive necessity naman. So dito naman po, yung choice to embark on the project is founded on a desire to preserve the company's competitive position sa market. So, meron din tayong product line extension. So this is the number 4 type of non-numeric model. So dito naman, a project to develop and distribute new products evaluated on the level to which it fits the firm's present product line, fills a gap and strengthens a weak link or extends the line in a fresh advantageous direction. And lastly, we have the comparative benefit model, which is often used to select from a list of projects that are complex, difficult to assess, and often non-comparable. So the one with the most benefit to the firm is selected. The numeric models. So meron naman tayong 4 na klase po ng numeric models. So by definitions and by the name itself, so ginagamitan po ito ng numbers. So may mga formulas, may mga computations na kasama. So here is number one example of a numeric model. which is the payback period. So this measures the time it will take to recover the project investment. So a shorter payback period is better. So ito po is maganda kapag sa mga business kasi syempre naglabas ka ng pera, so gusto mo bumalik din yung ginastos mo doon. So, ang formula po para makuha natin yung payback period is the total cash out over the average per period cash in. And next, we have this IRR. So, ang ibig sabihin ng IRR natin is the internal rate of return. So, wherein yung discount rate measures or equates the present value of the future cash flow of an investment with the initial investment. And number 3, we have the net present value. So a numeric calculation that shows the present value of an investment based on the expected income from that investment in the future years minus the cost of the project. So ito naman po yung formula niya. So PV is equals to FV over 1 plus R raised to N. And lastly, we have the benefit cost ratio. So the ratio of the present value of cash flows or cash inflows at the required rate of return to the initial cash outflow of the investment. So ito po ay tinatawag din or also known as profitable index. So ito naman yung ginagamit natin na formula. So we have the BCR, so pineksi lang po natin yung benefit cost ratio is equals to PV in over PV out. So I'm going to give you some examples ng numeric models. So here is our first example for our present value. So example number 1, so we have here a word problem. So let's try to answer this. So in this problem, it says that investment project Blue, which was developed of a new version product of Blue Dolphin. So the cost for the development is 100,000 this year. And next year, we will be able to sell the first batch for 70,000 and in 2 years, the second batch for 50,000. So given an interest rate of 10%, what is the net present value of that project? So here, we're going to use the formula of the present value as it was what is asked in the question. So using the formula of the present value, so we're going to use PV is equals to FV divided by 1 plus r raised to n, wherein FV is the future value, 1 plus r is the rate, and the exponent n is the length of time in years. So by getting all the given, so we're going to get this year, next year, in 2 years, and the interest rate. So, pag sinabi po natin na in this year, so current year, so syempre wala pang dumaan na taon. So, ang ilalagay natin dyan ay 0. So, wala tayong cash in, wala tayong present value. Kasi naglabas pa lang po tayo ng profit. So, yung 100,000 po dito na cost of development ay ilalagay po natin dito sa cash out. So, magkano yung cash out natin? So, 100,000. So, ang ating present value is 100,000 din po. So, cash out is equals dun sa present value po niya. Kasi yun pa lang, yun ay lalabas po nating pera. So, next year, as forecasted, so after 1 year, that's why 1 po ang nakalagay dyan, ang sabi dito is, they're expecting to sell the first batch for 70,000. That's why ang nilagay natin sa cash in for the first year is 70,000. So, ano ba yung hinahanap natin? So, syempre si PV in. Kung ano yung present value na papasok po in that year. So, how are we going to compute etong PV in? So, eto po siya using the formula of present value. So, ang ating cash in at that time is 70,000. So, i-divide natin siya from the formula na 1 plus, so saan natin nakuha itong 0.10? So, siya po yung interest rate. So, di ba wala tayong nakikita dito exponent in years. Bakit? So, di ba sa mathematics natin, kapag ang exponent is raised to 1, so hindi na natin siya nilalagay doon. So, automatic, pag wala doon naka-raised to 1, or walang value dyan, is meaning nun ay meron ka ng 1 na naka-exponent dyan. So, using that, so 1 plus 0.10, so magiging 1.10 siya. So, 70,000 divided by 1.10 is 63,636. So, siya po yung present value na pumasok in 1 year. So, syempre, wala na tayong cash out dyan. Wala na rin tayong PV out dyan kasi papasok na po yung pera. So, in 2 years, so, in numerical value, syempre, 2. O, so, eto na. So, nilagay din natin dito yung 10% kasi siya yung interest na ginagamit natin dito po sa pag-solve. So, etong 10% is kino-convert natin into decimal points. So, next, bakit 50,000 yung nilagay natin dito? Kasi, the forecasted na yung mabibenta nila in 2 years is 50,000. So, 50,000 yung naging cash in niya. So, ano yung present value in that year? So, paano natin nakuha itong 41,000? So, syempre, using pa rin the formula of present value. So, 50,000 divided by 1 plus 0.10. So, iisipin nyo, bakit may raised to 2 na doon? Kasi po, yung sabi natin, yung exponent na yan is the length of time in years. So, this is the second year. So, that's why, naglagay tayo dyan na raised to 2. So, siya yung, yung numeric value ng 2 years. So, 1 plus 0.10 raised to 2 is 1.21 using 2 decimal points. So, 50,000 divided by 1.21, we will get 41,322. So, siya po yung naging PV in. So, pareho lang last year. Wala pa rin tayong ilalagay dun sa cash out and sa PV out kasi papasok pa rin yung pera. So, dito naman po, so paano natin nakuha itong 104? So, syempre, inad lang natin yung sa first year at saka itong second year. So, si PV out, so addition din lang. So, sum all. So, 100,000. So, paano natin makukuha yung net present value? So, net present value is equals to present value in minus present value na nilabas natin. So, ang kinita is 4,959. So, siya yung net present value po nitong project na to. So, next, we have the second example. So, ang ating word problem is about the investment project RED. So, the development of a new version product of RedShark. So, the cost for development is 150,000 this year. So, next year, we will be able to sell the first batch for 90,000 and in 2 years, the second batch for 85,000. So, given an interest rate of 10%, ano daw ang net present value ng project? So, we're still using the formula of present value kasi yun yung hinahanap natin. So, ganun din sa kabila. So, dito naman, so ano daw yung naging cash out natin? So, syempre, 150,000 kasi siya po yung naging capital natin or siya yung ating nilabas na pera. Tapos, same lang, since equals nga lang siya sa PV out, so kakopy lang din natin siya doon. So, next year, which is the numeric value is 1. So, nandito, interest rate pa rin natin ay 10. So, dito, 90,000. So, saan natin siya kinuha? So, syempre, eto. So, nawala yung akin. So, ayan, 90,000. So, nilagay lang natin siya dyan sa cash in and syempre, ating po kukumputin ay itong mga nasa PV in. So, paano natin nakuha itong value na to? So, using the formula, so ganun pa rin, 90,000 divided by 1 plus 0.10, wala pa rin tayong exponent because this is the first year. So, 90,000 divided by 1.10 is equals to 81,818. And under the second year, so kinuha natin yung ating forecasted na cash in. So, we have 85,000. So, paano natin nakuha si value? So, using pa rin the present value formula. So, nagkaroon lang tayo dyan na raised to 2. Kaya, nakuha natin si 1.21. So, 85,000 divided by 1.21 is equal to 70,248. So, process pa din dun sa una. So, we're going to get the sum. So, magiging 152,066. And para makuha si net present value is ima-minus lang natin si PV in kay cash out po or dun sa ating PV out. So, ang kinita po dito sa ating example number 2 which is the Red Shark project is 2,066. So, this is just a simple mathematical equation. So, napakadali. Syempre, hindi na rin natin ito papalalimin pa. Kasi, sabi ko nga, hindi naman ito ganun ka-align sa course natin. So, hindi natin siya dapat pang pahirapan. So, I'm just showing you some example kung paano yan mga kinukuha para in the future, if ever you work in the company, may idea pa din kayo. So, meron tayo ditong benefit cost ratio. So, to get the benefit cost ratio, so sabi natin, for the formula is BCR equals to PV in over the PV out. So, in our examples dun sa kanina, so at an interest rate ng 10%, we obtain for the project blue is 104,959. So, ito po yung total sum nung PV in natin. Dinivide natin siya sa 100,000 which is the PV out or our cash out na ang naging total naman is 1.50. So, number 2, Project Red. So, paano siya? So, 1.5, sorry. So, for number 1. And Project Red is, ayun, total din lang ni PV in, which is 152,066, divided by the total cash out of 150,000. So, ang nakuha po natin dyan na benefit cost ratio is 1.14. So, we use decimal digits na may tatlo. So, tatlong decimal digits ang kinuha natin. So, if you only consider yung cash inflow as benefits and cash outflow as cost, we end up with our familiar decision to choose the project blue or yung pinakauna nating ginawang project. So, bakit? Kasi mas malaki po yung magiging benefit natin or mas malaki kasi yung kikitain natin doon in the future. So last, so for our example for the payback period, so using the method of payback period gives the simplest approach. So dun sa ating formula, which is payback period is equal to total cash out divided by the average per period cash in. So based dun sa dalawang example po natin, so kukunin natin yung pinakang average per period cash in. So sa project blue, so ano yung pinakang investment natin doon. So, naglabas tayo ng 100,000. So, dinivide natin siya sa 40,000. So, siguro you're going to ask me, saan po nakuha yung 40,000? Kasi kung babalikan po natin, wala naman itong 40,000 doon po sa ating table or even doon sa ating mga naunang computation. So, si 40,000 po is kinuha natin yung total cash in, dinivide natin siya sa tatlo. So, bakit tatlo? So, syempre, sinama po natin yung time na naglabas tayo ng pera. So, same po with the red project. So, kaya nakuha natin niya si 58,333. So, in the blue project, we can get the payback period. So, dinivide natin si 100,000 by 40,000. So, nakuha natin yung 2.5 years. So, in 2.5 years, babalik po yung nilabas nating pera. And in the Project Red, so 150,000 divided by 58,333. So, in 2.57 years, so ibig sabihin, 2 taon, kalahati, tapos, so pagpalagay na 2 years and 8 months. So, pagpalagay na ganon, so saka natin siya makukuha yung ating nilabas na pera. So, rounded to decimal digits. So, laging ganon. 2 decimal digits kapag payback period. 3 decimal places naman dun sa nauna. So we decide in favor of the project with a shorter payback period, and our choice would be Project Blue. So notice that we do not apply present values explicitly. So now we are done po with the example of project selections. So yung mga computation natin, so hindi na natin din yun ipapractice. So I just made an overview lang doon. So dito naman sa ating project portfolio management, which we call the PPM, so ano ba daw siya? So this is a set of business practices and systematic process of selecting, supporting, and managing a firm set of projects as a strategic portfolio based on cost, benefits, and use of resources, ensuring alignment of programs and projects with organizational objective. So meron ditong key players and responsible people na under po ng ating PPM. So, andyan po si business unit or the sponsor of the project, the project manager, the project portfolio manager, and of course, the executive team. So, here are the key players and responsibilities of PPM. So, sino-sino nga ito ulit? So, they are the business unit sponsor, the project manager, the project portfolio manager, and the executive team. So, sino itong mga business unit sponsors na ito? So, any constitutional constituent who needs or uses a fraction of the budget for the intention of accomplishing projects. So, each business unit names projects, aids project managers in building business cases for rationalizing projects, and defends its project and project portfolio. They are liable for offering quality assurance for data connected to its projects. And while the project manager, so sila naman yung mga individual with general responsibility for victorious planning and execution of a project. So sabi nga natin, sila minsan or madalas as a project manager, madalas sila yung nasa top kasi sila yung mismong naghahawak ng project. So sila yung nandyan to check dun sa mga nagtatrabaho, pati dun sa functional manager na madalas ay nasa site. So they work directly with business units, sponsors to afford good data for the portfolio management process, and they are responsible for making certain that endorsed projects carry out according to plan. While the project portfolio manager, so they are the managers with responsibility for the project portfolio, usually assisted by a team. So the team can be a comprised of directors of the business area. So they ascertain the rules and procedures for creating portfolio decisions. They study projects and portfolios suggested by business units and commend the overall project portfolio. And the executive team, so syempre sila po yung pinakamataas. So they choose corporate officers who direct and offer inputs to the PPM process. So they give policy inputs for the process, continue weights for trading of diverse types of project benefits, and they place targets, endorse the budget and project portfolio, and guarantee that portfolio decisions are implemented. So, ito pong PPM natin, syempre may mga benefits ito. So, they build discipline into the project selection process. They link project selection to strategic metrics. They prioritize project proposals across a common criteria rather than on politics. So, syempre, kung ano yung nailatag dyan, masusundin nila yon. So, kung ano yung naging kontrata, kung ano yung um, naging initial na usapan nung nagpirmahan sila, so yun yung mas ipaprioritize nila. So, wala silang pakialam kung yung mas boss, as long as sinusunod nila yung napirmahan nilang kasunduan. So, balances risk across all projects, justifies killing projects that do not support organization strategy, and improves communication and support agreement on all project goals. So, ito po is an example of a typical project portfolio management process timeline. So, ito yung madalasan na nangyayari. with those executives, the managers, and yung mga tao na nandun po sa project level. So, kung mapapansin niyo dyan sa site, nandyan yung project level. So, sila yung nagtatrabaho mismo dun sa mismo project or dun sa site if you are in a construction company. Portfolio manager, so syempre sila yung nagre-receive ng mga reports na nangyayari dito sa mismo project, and the corporation management. So, sabi nga natin sa corporation management, during the preparation stage, so they set the strategy, they set the budgets, targets, goals, and they set yung weights, risk tolerance, and discount rates if ever there is. At binababa po nila yan sa portfolio level. So, sila yung mga managers na nandyan, so doon naman nila ilalatag. Once na nakapag-decide na sila dyan sa mga budgets at lahat ng dapat na sakop or scope ng project na gagawin. So, setting PPM process, responsibilities, and the calendar. So, sa calendar, syempre kasama dyan yung schedule. Then, etong mga nasa portfolio level na ito, like kunwari, nandito si project manager, they evaluate yung project. Then, also, nandyan din yung reporting. So, syempre, reporting goes to the corporation manager. So, dito, so mapapansin nyo, so may mga arrows naman. From the portfolio level, so they identify yung mga opportunities, kung ano yung mga kailangan dun sa site, ano yung mga raw materials na dapat unang bilhin. Then they create project concept. Kapag may project concept na, so syempre reporting na documents, na eto po yung kailangan namin procure for the first 3 months or kung ano man yung plano ng manager na nasa site. So, nagkakaroon ng pre-screening po dito sa portfolio level or etong mas mataas na manager. So, kapag na-screen na nila yan, ibababa ulit nila yung report doon sa project level wherein they create project proposals. Wherein dito na po nag-i-start yung mismong execution, yung pagsisimula po ng pag-build ng project. Then kapag nandun na yung proposal, so nabasa na ni manager, ni supervisor, nagkaroon na ng agreement. So they provide the project data. Kung ano yung mga possible na mangyari, ano yung sa tingin nila ay if ever may pagbabago dun sa schedule na binaba ng corporate management na nakita nila na hindi ito pwede kasi masyadong maiksi yung time. So, ayun. So, all the changes is pwedeng mangyari kapag binaba po yung project proposal kasi minsan hindi naman definite itong proposals na ito kasi po yung mga nasa site yung mas nakakaalam kung gaano katagal and yung weights nung work na gagawin nila. So, binibigay nila itong mga datas na meron sila na sa tingin nila is if they can see some changes. Tapos, pero syempre, the due dates can also be tawag dito, pwede namang i-compress yun at pwede namang humingi sila ng additional due date. So, depende pa rin sa corporate management. So, dito po is once they provided the project data, i-evaluate na po ito ng mismong project manager. Then, once evaluated, they will check on which materials or which activities will have to be prioritized. So, they have to optimize the project portfolio and saka sila magre-report din sa top management if they have merong mga changes, ano yung mga dapat na i-prioritize. So, syempre, may mga dahilan yun kung bakit. So, si corporate management, they will select and authorize the work. So, they will do the approval. Then, ayun, nakalagay dito, nagkakaroon ng reporting. So, sabi nga natin, etong binigay na data po ni project level ay ire-report nila sa itaas. Tapos, kapag yan po ay na-approve sa taas, ay saka naman nila ibababa ulit dun sa mga nasa site. Tapos, ire-review ulit ng nasa site kung na-approve ba yung kanilang mga request. So, their project status reviews are being done. So, performance management na. So, mapasok tayo dyan sa examination ng mga supervisors and the functional manager if ever. Siya yung nandyan sa project level. So, dito naman is, ayan, nakalagay dyan na continues the executive projects. And yung benefits and monitoring assessment, so syempre, nasa in-between po siya ng portfolio level and project level kasi para yung reporting niyan ay parang magbabatuhan na lang sila niyan kung ano yung mga nangyayari. And yung mga ongoing process improvements naman, so syempre, doon na i-compile sa portfolio level, saka naman nila yan itataas sa corporation management para alam nila yung mga milestones, ano na yung um, pinaka nangyari. So, syempre, yung pinapasa dito from the project level to portfolio level is sinasummarize po ni portfolio level yung pinakang nangyari sa site kasi hindi naman magbabasa ng sobrang dami itong si corporation management. So, kailangan lang nila yung highlight mismo. So here are the project portfolio process steps. So they're going to establish a project council, identify project categories and criteria. Then after that, they will collect project data and assess resource availability. So if ever yung mga raw materials ba ay available dun sa area or kailangan ba nila mag-procure sa medyo malayo. So syempre, they will take consideration po yung lead time kung kailan po darating yung mga materials. And reduce the project and criteria set. And number 6, we have here the prioritize the projects within categories. So, syempre, by department. And number 7, select the project to be funded and held in reserve and implement the process. So, this will lead to success. So, next, so the business project proposal. So, dito po kay business project proposal, so just like what I've said dun sa ating orientation nung una, is gagawin natin tong final output. I'm going to show you in our next meeting an example of a business project proposal. So, ano ba muna itong business project proposal natin na tinatawag? So, it is the set of documents presented for assessment. So, kung papayag ba yung may-ari or yung barangay or even the municipality na gawin mo yung project na yan. So, it could be concise or extensive in format, and attention to all details of the proposal is suggested to amplify the likelihood of success for the project and to astonish promising investors. So, eto po yung outline ng isang business project proposal. So, this is the technical approach. So, syempre, meron tayong cover letter. So, write a cover letter as an important marketing instrument and make clear primary nature and general benefits of project. And number 3, using simple technical language. So, pag gumagawa tayo ng cover letter, hindi naman dapat lalim na salita na ating gagamitin, lalo na yung mga technical words na hindi naman maiintindihan ng mga common na tao. Kasi meron tayong mga technical words na hindi naman ginagamit sa pang-araw-araw. Kunwari, may mga materials kayo dyan or may mga, ang tawag sa gano'n, may mga tools na ginagamit na hindi naman alam ng pangkaraniwang tao. So, it is better then kapag gumamit din tayo nitong mga um, uncommon words na ito ay meron tayong way how we are going to explain to them etong mga ito. Or better not use na lang ng mga technical languages para mas madali pong maintindihan ng nagbabasa. And executive summary, so ito daw yung a 1 to 2 pages synopsis of the project and nature of technical problem to be solved. So, number 1, broad description of problem to be resolved or project to be done. So, ito yung sa kunwari sa DPWH. So, bakit ba nila naisipan na magkaroon ng road widening project? So, syempre daw para masolusyonan ang traffic, masolusyonan yung masyado madaming sasakyan na dumadaan dun sa lugar na yon which cause the kumbaga yung kalsada na mabilis masira. So, gumawa sila ng diversion para yung mabibigat na sasakyan or na mga truck ay dun dadaan. So, they made use of the road widening as another way to reduce traffic. And number 2, main subsystem of problem or a project. So yan yung mga nilalaman ng executive summary. And next we have to know how to approach solution of the technical problem. So number 1, we have here the methodology of resolving the problem. So ano yung gagawin natin? Number 2, unusual client requirements and test and inspection procedures. So next, we have to plan for the implementation of the project. So ano ba yung under nito? So we have to approximate yung time, cost, and materials for each subsystem and the whole project. And sets up major milestones to break project into phases. So hahati-hatiin syempre yung mga task para equal yung ginagawa ng ating mga team members. And record equipment, overhead, and administrative cost. And create a contingency plans like slack time. So, syempre may plan A, plan B, at plan C. So, hindi tayo pwede mag-stick dun sa plan A kasi may mga possibilities na magkaroon ng accidents na mga hindi inaasahang pangyayari. So, we have to plan for logistic support and administration. So, dito naman, we are going to control over subcontractors and nature and timing of all reports like the progress, budget, and audits, change management, termination procedures, and touch of class capabilities. So, andyan yung artist renderings, meeting facilities, video conferencing, and even the computer graphics. And lastly, we have the description and past experience of project team. So, di ba, ito yung parang curriculum vitae. So, dito makikita kung sino yung mga engineers, architects, sino ang namahala, sino yung mga managers. So, dito siya lahat makikita. So, this all the key project personnel with titles and qualifications. So, ini-include dyan yung full resume ng each principal and provide all pertinent references. Kaya, di ba, minsan may project na according sa contract or dun sa ano ng engineer is tatagal daw ng 10 years pero nasira na siya within 5 years. So, nagkakaroon ng liability at itong mga engineers or minsan yung mga architects din. Kasi sabi nila, 10 years, pero ba't 5 years pa lang, pasira na yung building ko. So, ayun, minsan pinagbabayad sila, minsan ay syempre napag-uusapan sa korte. So, eto po yung last part of our lesson number 2. So, I hope you have learned and read etong ating lesson. So, next meeting, so be ready po sa quiz. So, ang quiz natin will be of lesson 1 and lesson 2. So, medyo mahaba. So, for the topic, so siguro I can send some of the important na dapat nyo lang basahin kung tungkol saan ba siya. Pero madalas ay yan halos lahat. Pero, ano nyo na lang, since sanay naman kayo, since high school, na kinukuha nyo lang yung mga words, then nilalagay nyo ng mga definitions. So, madalas din naman ay ganon. Pero, let me check on it. Kasi may nagawa na ako, hindi pa nga lang po natatapos. And also, next meeting po, so with regards with this business project proposal, is sabi ko nga, di ba, ito yung ating final output. So, as a final output po, next meeting, ipapakita ko sa inyo yung example para at least meron na kayong idea on how to make this business project proposal para masimulan na kahit papaano at makapag-isip na po yung inyong grupo doon sa gagawin ninyo at yung mga preparations na kailangan ninyo. Though I think naman ay napakadali nito. So, ayan. Pero syempre, ang pasahan nun ay sa finals pa. So, wala munang magpapasa ngayong midterm ha. Kahit makita ninyo na parang andali. Pero, kasi syempre, ang gulo nun. Kung mayroong magpapasa na midterm, finals pa. So, pwede nyo siguro ipasa yon kapag sa simula ng final grading natin. So, ayun lang po. So, make sure that you have read and at least listen do sa iba kong mga paliwanag. And for some questions, so pwede nyo naman itanong next meeting kapag meron na tayong live broadcast ng ating klase. So, yun lang po. So, thank you for taking time to read and listen to me. So, thank you very much.